Hello, it's Ash from Bricklayer Social Club.
And it's Rob from the Mind Your Head podcast.
And on this episode of Bricklayers TV, we are welcomed by no other than Rob Songer himself.
And what a guy he is as well. And great music choices that he makes.
Yeah, we talk everything Rob Songer, from his videos, his apprenticeships, his courses, everything. So Rob, I'm Ashley. I'm the founder of Bricklayers Social Club. And then the other gentleman we've got with us is Rob, who is from Mind Your Head podcast. He's a bricklayer, and I'll let him explain what he does.
Yeah, so I've been a bricklayer for 20 years now, but I've now moved over to doing more about mental health and well-being within the construction industry, and trying to let the guys on the tools mainly know that you all need a little bit of help and support sometimes, and it's okay to ask for that little bit of help.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So Rob, what led you to being a bricklayer?
Yeah. I never thought I was going to be one. I think my dad was an engineer, and when I was obviously at high school, the careers teacher was sort of pressing everyone to go out, get interviews, and get all your CVs out there and everything. And everyone was doing it. All my friends were getting job interviews, and one or two were getting jobs. And I kind of like just felt to myself that I don't know what I want to do. And I just thought, well, my dad's an engineer. I like sort of messing around with like bikes and stuff, and maybe I'll do something like that. And an opportunity came when I was at high school on a Thursday afternoon, where we could miss English literature and RE, and I thought, well, that's a bonus anyway. We got to go to college, and we had to have three options. And the first one, I put machine shop practice, and I worked on lathes and all kind of like machinery, like my dad was doing. The next one I picked was motor vehicle, because I thought that's kind of a little bit like my dad's always messing around with engines. Third option, I just couldn't really, looking through the list, nothing really appealed to me. And in the end, I just thought I'll building. So I just ticked building. And anyway, turns out that I hated machine shop practice, didn't really enjoy the motor vehicle. So I was quite disillusioned, because again, time was going on, and everyone, all my schoolmates and everything, we were getting interviews. And so I tried, first of all, was like carpentry, it was okay. Paint and decorating I quite enjoyed that. Plumbing was too much like mechanics to me. And the last thing I did was, again, I was really disillusioned by this time. I just thought, I'm just going to be like on the dole, like my brother. And bless him, he's a lovely chap. And I just thought, I don't know, brickwork. I can remember walking into the brickwork shop for the first time, and the two things that really struck me was the smell of the workshop. I thought, this smells good. Bit weird. And then when the tutor started scraping the mortar off the board and just sort of rolling the mortar, and the sound of it, I thought, heck, I can't wait to have a go at that. And those two things just got me into it. So and as soon as I picked that trowel up, I honestly, I swear to you, from that moment when I was 16 to this afternoon when I was working at this hall where I'm working at, I love my job, absolutely love it. And I say when I was teaching, I say to the students, and I used to say to them, or apprentices as well, because I always put apprentices with me. I say, if you wake up and you dread coming to work, don't worry about it, because you're all going to have good and bad days. And I said, and when you have the bad days, that just really makes you appreciate the good days. I said, but if you wake up day after day after day and you're dreading coming to work, you got to do something else. So because obviously you've chosen something that you're not happy with. Because I would say to them that obviously 24 hours in a day, and you're going to sleep for 8 hours, and you're going to be at work for 8 hours, getting back to some force of work, that's going to be like 10 hours of your day. And I said, that's most of your life until you retire. So you've got to enjoy what you do. And I have to say, hand on heart, I love my work. Love it.
And it absolutely shows in everything you do as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I do. I do. My brother's an artist. My sister, well, both my sisters, I've lost one now. They were both good at art. And I dropped art when I was at high school because I was compared to my brother and my sisters. And I was the youngest one. And I didn't like the thought of trying to keep up to them, especially my brother. My brother's a cartoonist. He's just awesome. And I just didn't like that. So I like to think that my art comes out in the brickwork. So
it does. It definitely does. So you chose bricklaying, and you went on the career. You went on the path of becoming a bricklayer. So you was an apprentice for however many years. Did you do the whole journeyman thing, or did you stay around Norfolk?
I'm sort of on the Norfolk-Suffolk border, and I haven't really moved away at all. I've done sort of been away just to do voluntary work every now and again, but that was only down like London way, so I've not ventured far. But again, with my students, I used to say to them, and probably because I never done it, I used to say to like all the students and apprentices when I was working with them, before you get a girlfriend, before you get a car, before you get a house, get yourself your trade. Just knuckle down. So you do advanced craft or level 3 as it is now. I say make sure you do that as well, because while you're at college, you haven't got to pay for it. If you later on think you're going to have to do it, you're going to have to find about £3,000 to do it. I said, so do advanced craft, and then once you've got that, you can work anywhere in the world once you've got your trade. And I used to urge all of my students to, as soon as they finish their apprenticeship, they got their papers, go to Australia, just get a ticket, £1,500, go around the world a little bit, end up in Australia, do 6 months there, and then come home, because that would be such a great thing. I used to tell them to do that because that's something I wish I'd have done and never done it. And I know 2 of my students did it, so that's worth me saying that, really. Yeah.
So when you was an apprentice, was the whole taking a trip over to Australia a thing then?
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit there. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So when you was an apprentice, was the travelling over to Australia, was that a thing? Was it then, or was it just you wish you had the opportunity to do it?
I think when I was a student, an apprentice, I don't think anyone ever talked about it. No. But with obviously the internet and everything, I was like able to see people uploading videos. Who was it? Isaac? I think Isaac is one bricklayer he's either in New Zealand or Australia, and he used to upload quite a lot. I haven't seen him for a long time. But when I used to see that, during my times of teaching, I used to sometimes upload 1 or 2 of his videos and show them to the students, just to try and to whet their appetite that there's a lot out there that they can do. So and I said, thankfully, I mean, 2 of them did it, so I think that's all right. It was worth it.
It's never too late to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You buy a ticket tomorrow, Rob, and go have a blast in Australia.
Well, I've got my house now. I've got my children. Australia, it does sound good. But unfortunately, I love where I work. I absolutely love it. And it's a bit of a dream job where I am at the moment. So, I mean, I've done a little bit of the house bash and stuff. That never appealed to me. That didn't. So, can you hear me all right? Because
no, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
so like where I work now. Sorry.
Oh no, I think it's a bit delay there. Yeah, no, I'm saying this is about you, so we want to hear your story. So if we've gone quiet, it's because we just want to hear what you've got to say.
sitting in awe of everything you've done. Like, I think you were the very first YouTuber that I noticed. I mean, you were 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Like that.
I was teaching in Norwich, and I was teaching four apprentices who worked for Carter's, and during my lessons with them, sometimes I'd say to them, so when you get home tonight, everything that we've discussed and all the drawings that you've done, everything, have a little look on YouTube and actually see it in action, see it being done. So I did that for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then when I got home one night, I just thought, I wonder what they're actually finding on YouTube, because I haven't even looked myself. And I had a look now for brickwork, and honestly, way back then, it just seemed I couldn't find anything that was that good. So I used to video myself anyway, just to sort of keep a record of the stuff I was doing. And so I went back to college and I said to him, I had a little look. I can understand why you're not watching anything, because there's nothing really of any good quality on there. I tell you what I'll do. I'll start a little YouTube channel, and when we do something, I'll upload something, and then you can watch it. And it's kind of like just to reinforce what you're doing. So we used to watch my videos in the classroom, and then I'd say I'll put it on YouTube so you can carry on watching it. So that's basically what started it. So and it just progressed from there. And I can remember one time reading someone's comments on a different channel, and it said, I'm getting, I can't remember how many views it was now, a week. He was getting so many views a week, and he was getting $10. And I looked, I thought, $10 for that many? I get them many views in a day. That's $10 a day. That's like $70 a week. I thought, I'm an idiot. I should be monetizing this, because every time I come up now to monetize, I used to reject it.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me. But when I read that comment, I just thought, hang on a minute, he's making a bit of money out of this. So I thought, yeah, well, I'll do it as well. I have to say that the money's not great on YouTube. So that's what the last thing I uploaded was about 4 weeks ago. So and I've just invested in a desktop. So I've now got DaVinci. So hopefully I'm going to be uploading soon. I've got 3 videos ready to go, and believe you me, sound like Peter Kay there. The stuff that we've got coming up is pretty awesome. We've got some fireplaces to do over the next 2 years, and one of them, I don't know if it's the next one we're going to do. That's going to be a world first. I like my twisted stuff.
Yeah.
This one, when they said, okay, we'll like twisted chimney breast in here, and I thought, okay, yeah, we can do that. And then when they sort of said, the client said, I ain't going to tell you what it is, because someone's going to go out there and do it before me.
Yeah.
When they said what they wanted, I just thought, okay. It's not going to be your normal twist. So as I was talking in my head, I was just thinking to myself, how the heck am I going to do it? So after a little bit of thinking, a little bit of sketching down, I've come up with a plan, and I honestly think that's going to be a world first. So you've got to keep right for it.
So Rob, where did you get the idea for? I remember seeing the first twisted arch that you done, and then the quadruple arch twisted piers that go into one.
Yeah.
Where did them ideas come from?
Well, when I was teaching, I used to like to search the internet for things, just to kind of like whet my students' appetites. And I saw someone had done a twisted arch in their garden. It didn't have piers; it just came out of their lawn and twisted around. But it wasn't brilliant. It was a few bricks kind of like missing in it, and but I looked at it and I just thought, that's pretty cool. And so the first twisted arch that I did, I just happened to be talking to my mate who I was doing it for, and said that I've seen this like a twisted arch, because he wanted 2 twisted piers into the, that's on YouTube anyway. into his garden room, and there's a nice pizza oven in there which never got uploaded, by the way. So I think you can see when you actually see the me doing the arch. I think you can see the pizza oven in there, or is that on the because I did a video when I tiled the floor. I think you see the pizza oven on that. But that I got all the stuff, the video and all the pictures, but I never bothered putting it on. So which that's gone now. But yeah, I was just talking to him about this art, and again, it wasn't nothing to do with the work I was going to be doing. He wanted 2 twisted piers going up, and I'd mentioned about this arch I'd seen, and as I was finishing the piers, he just sort of came up to me one day and said, "Can you put a twisted arch over that?" And I just thought, well, I don't know how to do it. Okay, all right, yeah, because my little motto is anything's possible. If you've got the patience and the time and the money, we can do anything with bricks. So when he said now twisted arch, I just sort of went. I was still teaching part-time then, and I asked 2 of the carpentry tutors, because I said to them, I've got a twisted arch to do. I said, I've come up with a way of doing it, but the real engineering and the real thought and work that goes into that arch is all carpentry. I've just got to follow whatever a carpenter does for me, and these 2 carpenters couldn't figure out how to do it, so I had to become a carpenter. So so I sort of like worked it all myself. Again, you can see it on the twisted arch. What's that? It's in 4 parts, and I can't remember now. Part 1 or 2 is me doing all the template and all the
there was hundreds of templates, weren't there? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, I did that one, and then the triple twist. I just happened to be talking to a farmer friend of mine, and I mentioned to him, I showed him a picture, and he just said, "I want one of those." And when he said, "Can you do like 3 of them?" I went, "Yeah." And then he said, and I had in my head where I was going to do it, right at the back of his house, just so he get all like ivy and stuff growing over it. And he said, no, he said, I want it on the front porch, on the front drive. And I thought, okay, it's going to be a bit obtrusive there. And I said, well, keep it low. He go, no, I want up high. Are you sure? He went, yeah. So okay, so he wanted that big on his front driveway, which it was fun doing it. But yeah, it's a little bit obtrusive. But fortunately, that's on a farm, which not many people see. So
have you ever been building it and you've come back the next day and it's dropped and things like that? Or have you been?
Oh no, nothing like that. No. And actually, the where that is, a sort of farm, that's where my workshops are, because obviously I run Tuesday night and Saturday workshops. If anyone's listening and they fancy coming, I've got 3 spare places at the moment. So
we'll put all the links to all your stuff in the description to this video as well, so people can head over and follow you on Instagram and all your socials and YouTube channel, and put the links to all that on it as well.
Okay, cool, good stuff. Yeah, brilliant, super. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of feel that I've gone stale and a bit stagnant on YouTube. It doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, it's never really made me any great deal of money anyway, and I was never in it for the money. It's always I ain't going to mention anybody's names. I will say that Rodian I think is brilliant, and also I really do enjoy watching Steve and Alex. I think those YouTube channels, if anyone's out there, people should go out and view them ones. I think they are really, really good. And yeah, the money side of it, that's never in my attention, and I don't want to repeat, because I think to be successful on YouTube, you have to be constant, and to be constant means, in my opinion, you're going to be be very repetitive, and I don't want to be like that. I just want to do certain things, so I can have students out there who go to a playlist, and then they will just see one video of maybe a segmental arch, another video will be a semicircular arch, and then it goes from rough arches to gauged arches. Well, sorry, rough to axe to gaze sort of thing. So a progression, but you only get one or two of each one. I don't want to just have the same video over and over and over again, just done at different times. So hence I don't upload a lot of the time. I'll record and take lots of pictures, but a lot of the time I'll just think, well, I did something really similar a couple of years ago, so I won't bother doing that one, but I'll just have my own record of them. So hence you don't see me on YouTube as much as I'd like to be. Yeah.
So you've got a mixture of everybody, really, if you think about it, all the detail stuff that you do and all the working out and the calculations, obviously engineering side from your dad, then the artistic side of everything that comes through with the work that you've produced and you finish is obviously the same as your brother and sisters. So you're like a creative melting pot of everybody, really, aren't you, with all the stuff that you come up with?
Yeah, good so. Yeah, I've got a blend of the songerness. Yeah. And my boy, my son, he's on Instagram, the Happy Carpenter. I started teaching him brickwork on an even class over in Norwich, and then one day he night, but being the tutor, I had to get in, so I took him in with me, and I said, Jack, I don't think anyone's going to turn up tonight, and so he just like carried on laying his bricks, and he said, Dad, what's upstairs? I said, oh, you got the carpentry workshop, and you got Dennis's paint and decorating up there. And he went, oh, should we have a look? Yeah, all right then. So we went walking up there, and I walked in, and I said, right, so this is Gavin's carpentry workshop, and when I turned around and looked at his face was, and I thought, I've lost him, and I had him after that. So yeah. But what I say to everyone is, like, so you've got, as I said right at the start, you've got to enjoy what you do. Yeah. And he absolutely loves being a carpenter. So and he's a good little carpenter. Yeah.
Good. That's what it's
he's
all
in
about.
Newcastle now, so I don't see him very often. Anyway, yeah. Next question, please.
What would you say is your biggest mistake? It doesn't have to be bricklaying related. It could be anything. But since we're on a bricklaying subject.
Biggest mistake. There's one that comes to mind, which isn't related to my trade. It's related to what somebody said to me when I was how old was I? 22 years old, and he was then the best labourer I'd ever worked with. I know at 22 years old I hadn't worked with many labourers, but he was just such a good, hard-working bloke. He never swore, which is strange on a building site and everything. And anyway, so he spoke to me sort of after work one time, and what he said to me, I won't go into this, obviously, but what he said to me was really encouraging. But at 22 years old, I didn't want to hear him. I didn't want to listen to what he said. And I ended up not seeing him because of that for 16 years. So and again, I know that if I had carried on seeing him after what he not advised me, he just spoke some very encouraging words to me. And at 22, I didn't want to hear him. I think at 22, a lot of us think we know best. But I think if I'd have listened to him then, I would be a better person sitting here now. And so I think that's my biggest regret, not listening to him when I should have done, really. So yeah. Biggest regret, biggest mistake at work. Sorry, Karen, go on.
No, I was going to say that goes back to, I think, the conversation we had with Matt at D5. And it's when you're a young trowel and you're on site, and I don't know if that's the subject you was going down, but it's when you think you know best and you don't listen to the guys that are teaching you, and you're full of testosterone, and you get all angry and agitated, and you think everyone's against you. It's them moments where you have to go, like you say, no, I need to take a step back, because the knowledge that you get taught as an apprentice it should cost thousands of pounds, but its price it comes free because you're getting paid to be there.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And again, that's one of the reasons why I used to show the videos of young Australian bricklayers, and I used to try to get into the mind of my students to knuckle down, get your qualification, and then you can go there and do that. Once you get your qualification, once you got your papers, you've got a trade. You can work anywhere. You've got a job for life. And again, you've got to enjoy what you're doing, but that is your ticket to go and do great things in Australia or wherever it is, and then and come back and tell lots of stories. And you've done it. It's something that you'll never regret. I don't think you'd ever regret doing something like that. And like I said, my regret is no one ever told me to do that when I was an apprentice, and I wish someone had. Because like I said, once you get a house, family, and things like that, you're never going to do it. So
what
do it
wasn't the big thing? It was Germany,
I'm
wasn't it?
this quite a lot, and
it was Germany, wasn't it? A lot of the bricklayers were going to.
That was. I think that was still happening when I came out of my apprenticeship. But I worked with a lot of older bricklayers who did a lot of time in Germany. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I worked with a few guys that had just come back from Germany. Some of them have stayed there till 99, 2000 when I started. And they were saying to me, said a lot of the time, say on the house bashing side of things, they get it up to above the windows in the bedroom windows or the top floor, and then they just put a big ring beam on it and pour it concrete in it and make it level that way. So he said some of the jobs they were on used to just absolutely get crashed up because they all get rendered over there. A lot of it's rendered in them terracotta block.
Okay. Yeah.
And then because it was all over the place, they used to just put a big ring beam on it, and then the roof would go up off that.
Have you ever done thin joint block work?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Porotherm. Quite enjoyed Porotherm.
I've done Porotherm as well. But for me, Celcon. I tried a bit of Thermalite as well. I didn't like that because the Thermalite were like the square blocks, like 450 square, and they were like top heavy. They never kept plumb. But the Celcon ones were the Jumbo Plus, best system. And again, I got like a playlist of thin joint. And if I could, even now, I would 100% do thin joint, the Celcon method. But you can't buy it anymore. You just can't get it. So
yeah, I've done the Celcon stuff, and I ended up getting it looked like I'd been rendering all day. I was covered in it. I get more on me than I would on the walls.
I honestly, I loved it. I just found it so quick, so accurate, and so clean. No mixer. All you had was your paddle to clean. I absolutely loved that. I thought that was a genius way of working, and I would have done it. I mean, here we've got obviously like the three main builders merchants, and one of them would stock all the thin joint material because one company who was doing a lot of house building around here used it, and me. And when I went into Travis, they said to me, the only reason we stock this stuff is because that company has it and you use it. And then when the other company changed to timber frame instead, then that cut my supply off because they stopped getting it in then. So I had to hang my scoop up. Unfortunately. Yeah.
No, I've done a lot with the Porotherm because the guy I worked with who I learnt from had done Germany, and he'd seen some. It was a similar system
Yeah.
that had been used, and he adopted it, and I loved it. I didn't get it at first because of the hatching and grinning with it, but it's still plumb, although it's hatching. And I was just like, I don't really get how that works. But he says, no, put a level on it, you'll see. And you put a level on it, it's plumb. It's like, oh, okay. You could almost walk up it like a set of stairs, but it was plumb.
I know what you mean. I know. Yeah.
We could knock out plots in. I think we built like 10 houses in like 8 months. And that was a 2-in-1. So that was the brickwork and the blockwork.
Yeah.
Because the porifirm was so quick, we would have it all up and then we'd jump out. You'd build it like a timber frame almost. You'd take all the porifirm up to wall plate and then jump back outside and then take the brickwork up in lifts. And it was really quick. Yeah.
What thickness blocks were you using? Just like
at the time they were 100, but I think they've now done away with the 100 and they've only got 140 by 5. I think it's a 550 block now. But at the time it was 100 by. I want to say it was a 440 block, like a 450 block. Yeah.
Yeah. I think because we only ever used that once, and the rep who came down to give us guidance used to be the Celcon rep. So I knew him from Celcon because he came to site once when I got working on site, and when I was teaching at college I got him in as well just to demonstrate to the students. So I knew him well, and then he turned up with the porifirm. But the blocks we were using were, again, I think as you say, they're about 440 and same height, but the thickness, I think they're about 200.
Yes, so they've done a monolithic block, didn't they? It was almost I think it was like a 250 block, and it had the honeycomb, like loads of different holes inside it. So you didn't need to have brickwork and blockwork. It was just the one block, and it was sufficient enough to give you U values and cavity, etc. I know they use it a lot on places like Lidl and Aldi, and that they use a lot of the monolithic.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. The monolithic style porifirm. Yeah.
I did it on that Celcon stuff. I did it on the care home, and it was all pod systems. So they were building complete flats in Poland. I think this was 2005 time, and the bathroom is like a big jigsaw. So we were doing that. I think I'm trying to remember. I think they were a 660 block by 200 wide. It was a steel frame, and then we were putting the block work on, or I was spilling most of it on myself as I was building it. But we were building it in that, and then they'd literally have a crane there, and about 40 wagons would come in. Then the living room would get pushed in, the bathroom would get pushed in, and then the bedroom would get pushed in, and then we'd skin over it then with the brickwork afterwards, or block work, depending where it was. But we used to have these, because you couldn't cut them with hammer and bolster. They were really thick. I think they were about 200 mil thick wide, these ones were.
Yeah.
And when you wanted to put it into the steel, in the webbing of the steel, you had to cut like an L shape basically out of the steel. And we had these encaged, I guess like the clipper saw, you used to pull them back and forth. I remember that.
Yeah.
And having to try and get them to work. And I was emptying out one of the containers at our yard last summer when COVID first kicked off and we were gone a bit quiet. And I found all these old like alligator saws from that job that we used for cutting through the block and things like that. But it never seemed to catch on around here.
No, I think there was a Lidl's was being done, just as we were told that the extension as an orangery that we were doing was going to be done like that. And when the rep came, just as we were starting, he said, just in the next village, there's 2 houses being done. So on the way home a couple of times, we just like drove past to have a look, but the bricklayers already packed their tools up and gone, so we never got to see him. But that was the only time that was sort of like happening, and now I don't see it again.
No.
I think there was a company out your way called March Homes, maybe, was using it. I think. It was,
All right.
yeah, I think.
I'll get
The
Kevin
one,
McLeod on it. If it makes it to Grand Designs, then everybody will want it then, won't they?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
McCarthy and Stone use it quite a lot, I think, as well with their care homes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's thin joint for you. it just never picked up. It was part of the modules at college when I was doing my MVQ.
Yeah. That's it, yeah.
No diploma, but I don't think it's ever really taken off over here. People prefer brick and block, don't they? Like concrete
They
block.
do. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah. But there
I've
you
got a
go.
mate who works out in France, and he keeps trying to convince me to come out to France. He says because they've just gone to the metric, or in the past 2 years, have gone to the metric block that we use over the hundreds and the 140s. And he says the French bricklayers can't get their heads around it. He says they just, because they've never had to keep gauge, really, building.
Yeah.
He says now you get he had him in building he does a lot of swimming pools for like expats and Canadians and Americans that live in France. And he says they were building a pool room for somebody. He says, I can't get this. He says it's hard enough to get him to work in the first place anyway, because he turns up whenever he wants. And then he starts eating cheese and drinking wine at 9 o'clock in the morning, every single morning. And he says they'll go for lunch. They'll go for lunch at 11 till 2. And then they want to work till 6, 7 o'clock at night. And he's like, I'm not interested in this. I want to go home. But he says they struggle with the gauging of the metric block. And it's obviously just in this country that we seem to be. So we have everything metric progressed. Yeah, that's probably the way of doing it.
Yeah.
Rob, what's the best thing you've ever built? Out of all of these things that I've seen you build on YouTube, obviously I don't know you personally, so I don't know what you've built behind closed doors, but what is the all-time high that you've built?
I like to think that's still to come. But today, I say this to everyone. I think I said earlier on as well that I love work every day, and so if I'm just running in, like helping someone out on an extension, or the last thing that I did, the diamond rib fireplace. You saw that one yet? Because that's not on YouTube at the minute. That's just on Instagram. But there is footage and stuff of that. But I haven't finished that yet. I've got to red up the ribs. So I would probably say I did enjoy doing that. I did, but I did feel a little bit under pressure. That's such a difficult. It's a difficult question to answer. The twists were good. I mean, okay. Just the little tutorials. I don't know if you've watched. When COVID first kicked in, I took time. I thought, right, I've always wanted to do this. I took 1 week off work at the beginning of COVID, and I did start my little series of drawing arches. There's 6 arches that I drew, and the intention was for me to draw it, so a student could watch. The basic first one was the semicircular with all the terminology on it, and it just on the drawboard showing you how to do it. And then the idea was to link that, which I have done on YouTube now, to me actually doing it on site. So you then see me setting it all out just as I did on the drawing, and then actually building it. And when I did the Gothic Arches, the 2 Gothic Arches that like join up together, I really did enjoy doing that. And again, that's at the farm where my workshops are, and I have to say I really did enjoy doing that one. Out of all the arches, that's been my favourite as well. But at the workshop, I have got in my mind, and when I get time, I'll do some drawings for it as well. Probably video them as well and put them on. But I've got some nice little arches in the pipeline in the head. But if you ask me this question next year, Okay, if we have a what do you call it?
Part
2 of this.
So Rob, when you build these incredible brick items, because I don't think they are. I would definitely say they are items.
Okay, yeah, one-offs,
because
yeah.
they're one-offs. Yeah, they're all individuals, and they're all personal to the client and to yourself. How do you price for them? Like, because you couldn't. It's hard to you couldn't. I couldn't work out a price to say, right, it's going to take me a week, because it might take you 6 weeks.
That's exactly right. I mean, for example, again on YouTube, on one of the buildings that we did where we are, I did the tumbling in and the twist, and that Harley and I, because Harley will take one side and I'll take the other, and he just like follows my lead, and well, I'd say he follows my lead. He's now, obviously, because he worked with me for so long, I don't really need to talk to him. He knows exactly what we're going to be doing, and I actually working with him again today for the first time in ages. So we're with him. We're on that job. The only cutting we had to do was actually on the tumbling. So from where all the brickwork like steps back to the tumbling to the twist, I think took us into a 4th day, I think it was, which we thought was pretty good. We're under a little bit of pressure to get done because the tarmackers were coming in, I think at the weekend or something. So everyone was like, "You're never going to get this done." And we just looked at it and thought, "Well, yeah, because that's all whole bricks. We haven't really got to cut anything." Whereas if you look at the one which is not on YouTube yet, but the one that's on Instagram at the moment, which is that diamond ribbed one, every single brick on there, if you look at them, they're all cut at least 3 times. And the diamonds, the actual ribs, each brick is cut 4 times. And I don't, because I read them up afterwards, so the ribs look continuous. You don't see joins in them. You don't really see where the 4 cuts are, but everyone is cut 4 times. And then obviously with the diamonds as well, and like I said, you can't price it. You just can't price it. So I just give an estimate on how long it's going to be, but that always goes out the window, because you'll get halfway through and all of a sudden, so we've got to rush over here. So we need you here for the next 2 or 3 weeks to do this, and then 2 or 3 weeks later you come back, and then I think you appreciate as well that if you're painting and well, say he gets called away, when he comes back, he's not going to get straight back into his painting. He's got to get back into the mood and everything, and what he's got to focus back into and everything like that. It's just the same with the stuff that we do. When we get pulled away, we can't just come back and go straight into it. You have to remember what you're doing. You've got so many cuts and so many lines and angles and everything that you've got to reset up and everything, and it does. So when you would get interrupted, that's why we say I can't tell you how long it's going to take, because we never ever are allowed to start one and finish it, because we're always being pulled off everywhere else. So it's incredible. Everything we do for that fact is always on like a day rate, but we will give a rough estimate on how long it's going to be, and it never really suits, because obviously we're realistic and say, okay, with that job, I'm going to be on that clipper saw for at least a week, cutting all in and getting everything ready, if I'm not interrupted. But 9 times out of 10, I'm interrupted.
Yeah. In other words, if you don't leave me alone or don't get left alone, we're going to be looking at some time.
Exactly.
I was going to say to you, what saw do you use, but you just answered the question. See,
we do used to use a clipper, but the last 2 and the one I was using today is I can never pronounce it properly, Husqvarna,
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. But that for me, if they're listening, I would really promote, say that they're the best cutters, and I could do one at my workshop. But I have to say, when we were doing the what do you call it? The one I was talking about, the tumbling and the twist. That was the first time I was using my battery DeWalt, and that is superb. That is a brilliant. Rather than that, so I don't like the still saws where they're so noisy. They've got fumes, everything. But with the battery, 54 volt DeWalt saw, absolutely one of the best. On £800, but it was like the best £800 I've ever spent. It was brilliant.
There's a bricklayer on Instagram, RJ Brickwork, Robbie Hinman. He was one of the first bricklayers I saw actually using a DeWalt battery grinder, cut-off saw. And then it wasn't long after I then realised that actually there's loads of people using them. And I always remember being a bricklayer. I can't wait to run my first laser level on my steel saw. I feel I'm a mixer.
Yeah.
once I've got them three things, I'm ready.
I was on a job about 3 years ago, and I seen a ground worker cutting mesh. Well, they were concrete floors actually, cutting rebar with those battery saws. And I went over to him and said, "Oh, is that any good?" He went, "No, it's crap because the battery doesn't last very long." But
yes, I know if you use it all the time. That is a problem. I now have 4 batteries, but you need 2 chargers. That's the thing. You need to have a battery being charged, 2 batteries being charged up all the time if you're going to be using it all the time. But if, like, for example, when we were doing the tumbling, we were cutting every now and again. So the battery that's charging up gets time to get fully charged. And so you sort of like don't, and the swap round was just right. So we're just like using it constantly all day. But if you use it all day, so when we're doing slabbing, because we do lots of patios and stuff where we are, you have to have 4 batteries on the go. So yeah.
And they'll cut just as much as a steel saw, because I was using one 2 weeks ago, and that's the first time I'd used one, and I thought, this ain't going to get all the way through this 100mm block, and it did. It got through it enough, and it broke with a little lip on it, but no different really to what a 12-inch steel saw would do.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't watch the video that I used to show my students a lot. What is it called? Site PPE and dust. Because I absolutely detest dust. And when I have actually, to be honest now, where we're working, the management there are really getting on top of it now. We had a really good safety officer, but sadly he's left now. But he was really pushing and making everybody aware. He'd do these little
toolbox
and everything, and he was really good at what he was doing, and he was highlighting a lot of the stuff that is in my video that I posted, basically for my students as well. And again, dust is a big thing, and I'm deaf in this ear. I've been deaf since I was 11 in this one, so I want to look after this. So air defenders and a mask, and I said my young lad who's a carpenter, I drummed that into him when I was teaching him brickwork, to be honest. And I can remember when he transferred over into carpentry and got his apprenticeship, I was teaching my bricklayers, and he was at the same. It's not a college. That's sort of like what do you call it? Independent sort of little college. But he was in the carpentry workshop, and I could see him. And even when he was like banging in nails and that, it was really loud. I'd look across, and he'd have air defenders on down, and I was just like, "Good on you, Jack. You're looking after yourself at a young age." And he's still like it now.
Yeah, they reckon silicosis is going to be the next taking over from asbestosis, don't they?
Yeah, it will be, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, we've got thousands of bricklayers who come through our page on Instagram, and if I'm going to take a moment now and say to all of the lads that you say are just holding their breath, cutting, with a steel saw or a grinder. Even just if you're repointing, cutting out a brick, toothing out for anything, chopping out a window, all of that dust, and they just come out and they've wore goggles, but they haven't wore ear defenders or a mask. It's like, guys, honestly, you need to wear masks.
Talking of masks
P3
as well,
minimum.
I do face fitting for the lads, and obviously I've got stubble, you've got stubble, and Ash. It doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't work. Your mask doesn't work, and all that. People say, "Yeah, I've had a mask on," and I say, "Right, take your mask off." And you see that down there when you get the marks down there. That's the dust that's coming in, and just the moisture of your breath is getting stuck there and all around your nose.
Yeah,
not working.
Yeah. No.
Rob, what's your number one top tip for an apprentice?
Knuckle down and get to Australia, and then come back and tell lots of good stories. Honestly, really, for apprentices, your time as an apprentice is so short. Them 3 years, if let's say they don't do level 3 anymore, do they? The 2 years that you're going to do will go so quick. So you've got basically for those 2 years, that's going to mold you into the bricklayer that you're going to be. And I used to say to all my students, there's 3 types of bricklayers. I used to say you've got your floaters, your bricklayers, and your super trolls. And I said the super trolls are the ones who will never ever have to worry about work. Their phone will be ringing all the time. The bricklayers, they're good. They'll be the ones who a company will find them, and they'll have a job for life, and they'll just sort of like plod along, be really, really good. The floaters, they're the lads who are at college, never took any interest. They just scraped through, got their qualifications, and I've worked with all these. I've worked with all of them, and these ones, again, when I was in my 20s, worked with the best 2 bricklayers ever, mentioned in one of my videos. When I was working with them, we'd have these other bricklayers come, and you just knew that they didn't knuckle down while they were at college, because as soon as we were getting up to wall plate height, and the job, the brickwork side of things was like drying up, they'd go. And I don't know, 6 months later, when we're doing another couple of houses somewhere, they might turn back up on site, and again, that's why I call them floaters, because they just float from site to site. Because and basically they the way I saw it was that they were the ones who obviously were at college, they got the qualification, but they didn't knuckle down really. They just got through. And so, but you really want to be a bricklayer who's going to be trusted, and a company will just don't want you to leave. They'll always find you work. And then you get the super trolls. They're the ones who go out, make money, get a great name for themselves, and they never ever have to look for work. And one of my students, who I ended up working for like 3 years ago, just for a few months, built 4 houses with him. He's one of those. All the time we were working together, his phone was ringing. He's, like I said, going at home, price and everything like that, and he built himself this huge house, and he has holidays all over the place. So that's the type of thing. If you knuckle down, sorry, my answers are too long, aren't they?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Well,
we're concerned about your time.
No, you're right. So yeah, so the advice is you knuckle down and you aim to be one of these. If you aim high, you'll end up being one of these, but don't be that. Don't be a floater, because you might find work, but that's going to be occasional. But like I said, be a bricklayer, but knuckle down and aim high to be a super troll.
Absolutely.
Yeah, never be out of work.
No. Well, thank you very much for your time, Rob. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you, and we're looking forward to all the great work you've got coming up, and the special world first that you've got coming up over the next 12 months, and can't wait for it.
Yeah, and then you got the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of stuff you've got going on, and I can't wait for it all.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm now looking at this Da Vinci screen. Hopefully, the videos will be a better quality, and I will start uploading soon.
Great.
Again.
Yeah. Really, it's funny because when you sent me your number, I was saving your name, and as I saved the name, I put God, and I was talking to Rob at the time, and I went, in my world, yeah, that'll do. So I just left it as God.
So you're saved in Ash's phone as God.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and the only reason why I say that is because I'm a bit younger than Rob. I mean, I'm 27, so I've only been doing this 12 years. So I haven't got as much time as a lot of bricklayers have, but I've got the passion, and I enjoy what I do. And you're one of the first bricklayers that I saw online, and I'd probably say that 90% of the people that are going to watch this video they're going to say the same thing. You're one of the first bricklayers they ever saw online. So what you taught me and all of them other bricklayers that are going to watch the videos is you are a credit to the industry. So having accidentally writing your name as God. Listen, I'm not saying you are. But,
no. Thank you very much.
Because you made the conscious effort to make these videos and upload them, and we were, well, as bricklayers, we were the ones that found them and watched them. You've had an impact to some degree with all of us, with what we've watched. We've all had the conversations. Oh, did you see the spiral arches? Or did you see the one where it was the three coming together? Or you know what I mean? We've all had that conversation between us all. You're a well-known trowel in the world, and I'm just like to say thank you for the stuff that you have given us.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that, and thank you for letting me talk as well. So that's cool. And I hope we'll have a part 2, and yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to share a lot more, because like I said, my Saturday workshops, they're now starting to get to a stage. Most of them gone through the basic skills now, and I'm going to be putting a few videos on of Ryan's now starting his first arch and stuff like that. So I can see there's a little bit of eagerness in some of the students now. So that's well cool. Really, really good. I've got a question for both of you as well.
Yes.
Got it.
All right. A very random one. And whenever a new person starts on site, I will ask them this question. And the answer kind of gives me a good idea of the mold of the type of person they are. All right. Okay. So you're on a long road trip. Okay. What 2 albums are you going to take?
I would probably take Prince. A Prince album's quite good.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also my other thing that I really like is house. So I like there's 2 sides to me. I like Prince, and I also like house music. So I'd take a house album and a Prince album.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah.
I would take the Smiths.
Oh man,
the greatest hits. Even though I think Morris is an arse, I do.
Oh man, you're my brother.
I do his music. They are the go-to music for me, no matter what album it is, and it can be for any genre that they went through. And even now, Johnny Marr stuff, I'll listen to Johnny Marr all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. And trying to think, maybe like original Oasis stuff. So Be Here Now, definitely, maybe something like that. Bangers that you could sing along to, that everybody knows and everybody loves. Yeah.
Well, Aaron, if you like, sorry, I'm going to cut this short.
It's all right.
Music is nearly up there with brickwork for me, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
If you, I have to say, Smiths, they're the best band ever for me. The Johnny Marr, best guitarist ever, and Morrissey's lyrics, superb.
Yeah.
With the Smiths on his own, he's lost it. He needs Johnny Marr with him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but them two can't talk, can they?
No, you can't. No. Brilliant stuff. Anyway, I'm glad we finished on a high.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made a brother.
Brilliant.
It's because we've got the same name. That's what it is.
I know. Yeah, Rob and Rob.
Yeah. Okay. If I was going to take 2 albums, right?
Yeah.
You would never heard of them, I don't think. But I think, Rob, that you might enjoy them because of the Smiths' influence. All right. There's a band that no longer exists called Tall Ships. Okay, so you got to check them out. All right, check them out.
Make a pad and note.
They had 2 albums, right? But yeah. But if you put Tall Ships in, sometimes another album come up, which is really heavy rock. Just dismiss that straight away.
Right. Okay.
The two albums, they're very guitar, a great guitar band they are. And the other one, a young and up and coming band in America called the Backseat Lovers. Only had 1 album, and I just think that album, that's on my playlist, and that gets played. If I've got any journey, like I said, any journey, them 2 albums will come with me, with Smiths as a bit of a backup now. Anyway,
there you go,
gentlemen.
Ash. You'll have to get into the Smiths, mate.
You'll have to.
All right, well, I'm not getting on site with Rob, am I now? Rob, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have a conversation with you, and I look forward to the part 2.
Thank you, Matt. So do I. Real good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great
Cheers.
stuff.
Good night.
Take care, everyone. Right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There you go, mate. You're gonna have to keep that on as the what's it, aren't you now? That can be the clip.
Yeah. Like, stop recording. Oh yeah. This is the bit I'm really bad at.
Remember, you're professional now. This is your 4th one at least. Now, quick, get a drink of beer down your neck.
You know,
COVID.
Hello, it's Ashley from Bricklayers Social Club.
Hi, it's Rob from the MYHP podcast.
And this is Bricklayers TV. On this episode of Bricklayers TV, we are
talking to the main man himself. Ashley's lost his head.